Hey guys, welcome to another movie review. Today I'm going to be talking about the latest Marvel film, Black Panther. I apologize if this review is way later than I intended on. Just got really busy with work and just didn't get around to filming my review for this until just recently. But let's talk about Black Panther. In this movie, you guys, like I said, this is the latest Marvel film. We do get Avengers Infinity War later in the year, so we don't have to wait too long to return to Wakanda for those who really enjoyed this film. But in this movie, Black Panther, um, we focus on the character of T'Challa, who was introduced to us in Captain America: Civil War. Unfortunately, for those who saw Captain America 3, T'Challa's father passed away. And now that he's gone, someone else needs to take up the mantle of the Black Panther. Because in the civilization of Wakanda that T'Challa is from, when the current Black Panther passes away, another person takes the throne as the Black Panther. And so, since he's the son of King T'Challa, who was a Black Panther for the longest of time, um, a lot of civilizations, I should just say Wakanda, including Prince T'Challa himself, played by Chadwick Boseman. It's pretty much assumed at this point that since he's the son of the king, that he'll be the next Black Panther. But in Wakanda, you have to kind of, almost kind of do a tryout, kind of. You have to do a fight. You have to really kind of prove yourself. They bury you in the sand and you talk to the previous kings who were also Black Panthers within Wakanda. There's just a really long process for somebody to become the next Black Panther, and in this case, T'Challa had to go through that process. But where the movie really starts to pick up, you guys, where the plot really comes in, is Wakanda is very strict about what who gets vibranium outside of Wakanda. And I guess the best example of this is Captain America's shield is made out of vibranium. So that's kind of the biggest example in the Marvel universe of vibranium making its way out of Wakanda in its furthest form, like who got it in a really far away place. But Wakanda's really not very keen on this. They really like to keep vibranium within their civilization, their shield off from everybody. They really want to make sure that that vibranium stays there and that they can further understand it, that it's best used for their technology. But until a character named Erik Killmonger, who comes into the story, played by Michael B. Jordan, he kind of tests this idea. He wants to be able to take vibranium outside of Wakanda and make other civilizations and other people kind of understand its value, its purpose, why. Rather than locking it away within Wakanda, we should let other civilizations and other places be able to use vibranium and be able to kind of best utilize it. If we have another attack from Loki or another attack from Ultron or another attack from whatever happens outside the Earth that comes into Earth to attack us, other civilizations will now be ready now that they have vibranium. So that's kind of Erik Killmonger's stance on the whole thing. And as I said, well, actually, I should say this too. All my movie reviews are non-spoiler, so I'm just going to try to review this as non-spoilerish as I can. So without getting into too much detail, there is a backstory about Erik Killmonger and kind of why he wants this to happen. But outside of what he wants, he understands the value of this vibranium, and his goal is if he gets the Black Panther throne instead of T'Challa, he will now go out to other places outside of Wakanda to make sure that other civilizations and other organizations get a hold of this technology and material as well. So that's kind of the plot of Black Panther, is T'Challa kind of finding a way to make his way to the throne to show that he's the best choice as Black Panther, and he has to basically outmatch Erik Killmonger, kind of prove that he's better than he is for this Black Panther role. He wants to keep the vibranium within Wakanda as always planned by the people of Wakanda, and kind of prove to Erik Killmonger that maybe giving vibranium to other places outside of Wakanda is probably not the best choice. So overall, for my overall thoughts of Black Panther, you guys, I really enjoyed this movie a lot. I don't think it's my favorite Marvel film, but and I guess it's fair to say it's probably in my top 10 somewhere just because they have made so many films since 2008 in this Marvel Cinematic Universe. So saying it's within their top 10 of all these films they've worked on thus far, I think is saying quite a bit, even if it's not their best film of all time. Iron Man is probably still my favorite Marvel film easily to this date. But for my positives and negatives of Black Panther, I like how it's Marvel's most cultural film to date. There is a lot of culture in this film. There is a lot of Africa in this film. They really do make it more than just another superhero film. They really try to make this a very cultural film, a film where we kind of understand Wakanda, the values of Wakanda, why it's important for it to be like this big long process for somebody to become a Black Panther within the civilization. I just really liked how Marvel added a lot of culture into this film, kind of like with Doctor Strange, how they added a lot of philosophy in that film. It's kind of cool that they have a very cultural film to add into their universe of films. For my other positives of Black Panther, I really like the African visuals of Wakanda. I like how it's not only like a very African nation. I like how there's a lot of technology. There's a lot of sci-fi, maybe a little bit of Blade Runner in there too. It's just a very visually appealing place. There's a lot of history behind this place. Like even the ships that they fly around within Wakanda kind of look like African masks that they would use in like a ritual of some kind or a sacrifice of some kind. Just a very visually appealing place. I like how there's places that you could go to late at night like casinos, and there's places that you can go to for groceries, and it's just a very visually appealing place. So I like how director Ryan Coogler, who also worked on the film Creed, which I really liked, I really liked how he made this a very visually appealing place. Wakanda's a very visually appealing place to be in. The actress who played T'Challa's sister, I wrote it down here. I think it's pronounced Letitia Wright. I apologize if I pronounced that wrong, but she really nailed it in this movie. She plays T'Challa's sister, like I said. Very much a comedic role, very much an intelligent role. She's one of the more intelligent characters in this movie. She handles all of Black Panther's equipment and kind of understands the vibranium technology the best out of all the people in Wakanda. But really liked her a lot. Every time she was on screen, I had a big smile on my face. She's just a very funny character in this film. You really got how you really get the sense that she's definitely a sister of T'Challa, just a very fun character. So I really liked what this actress did playing this character. Michael B. Jordan as Erik Killmonger, I thought was a terrific villain. There's a huge backstory behind him. I like all the details written behind his character. I definitely like how this is definitely one of Marvel's better villains. There's definitely a lot of history behind this villain, a lot of things you'll find out throughout the course of this film that happened in his past that he's very angry about, and he has every right to be. It's kind of interesting to see kind of his stance on the vibranium and how he wants it to be outside of Wakanda more. So I just really liked what they did with the Michael B. Jordan villain in this film. Just a very good Marvel film that we haven't gotten in a long time. I also like how the film explores T'Challa's struggles as the king, how people bring up questions that he doesn't know the answer to. There's the whole Killmonger situation. There's the whole vibranium situation. There's a lot of struggles he faces as the king, and the film does explore this in a very interesting way. Ryan Coogler, once again, like I said, did direct Creed. He did direct Fruitvale Station, which I liked, but I didn't like it as much as Creed or this film. But he really did an amazing job directing this film. He really made sure that Chadwick Boseman and Forrest Whitaker and Angela Bassett and Lupita Nyong'o, all these people gave terrific performances, and that he had interesting backgrounds for these characters. And even if we don't get to see a lot of background details on the characters, there's enough information shown on screen throughout the movie that definitely gives us just enough information as to what these characters do within this universe, why they're significant, why they're in this story, what they bring to the Black Panther story. So there's a lot of things that he did as a director in this film that I was very, very impressed with. For my negatives of Black Panther, though, there are some occasional weak green screen effects. There's one shot in particular where T'Challa is facing somebody on a waterfall that kind of proved that he's the best choice as Black Panther and the best choice as King of Wakanda. There's this green screen effect in the background that kind of shows Wakanda while they're on the waterfall. It looks like something out of like the early 2000s. Some of these green screen effects really do kind of look like cheap, outdated, early 2000s kind of special effects in some of these scenes in this movie. So some of the green screen effects weren't the greatest in this movie. Another negative I had with this movie was there's a scene where T'Challa is fighting one of the villains in this film. He's fighting one of the villains in the film. I'll just leave it at that. But they're falling, and I swear to God, it's a beat for beat, choreography by choreography moment of the Spider-Man 3 fall when Spider-Man and Venom are falling. I think even Chris Stuckman explored this in his movie review of Black Panther. It literally is beat for beat of one character punches the other, and the other character punches the other, and the other character punches the other, and they're falling and falling and falling and falling and falling. And it literally looks exactly like that Spider-Man 3 moment. And it has a very copy and paste feeling to it. And I really wish Ryan Coogler could have handled that fight scene in a much better way. It really does look like something out of Spider-Man 3. There's also an excessive paused realization moments within T'Challa's character in this movie. It works for a while. There is a lot of moments where he gets buried in the sand. He gets to talk to his dad and so forth in this afterlife place where he talks to previous Black Panthers. But after a while, I feel like they could have allowed his character to come to these realizations in more interesting ways. It got to the point after a while where I felt like characters had to bury him in the sand every couple of seconds to kind of make these realizations. And I don't know, after a while, it just got a little excessive. I like what they did. I like what this place looked like visually when he's talking to his father, but after a while, they just use it so many times. And like I said, after a while, it just got so excessive to the point where I really wish they could have told that information in more interesting ways, because it is valuable information. I got what it meant for the story. I just felt from a writing perspective and a visual perspective, it got a little excessive, and they could have presented some of that information in more visually and more, in a writing perspective, a more writing interesting way too. I also wish there was more scenes with T'Challa in his Black Panther suit in action scenes. There's plenty of scenes of T'Challa in action scenes, and plenty of these characters in the movie getting cool action scenes too, like T'Challa's sister, his girlfriend played by Lupita Nyong'o, and so forth. But there's not enough scenes, I feel, where he's in his Black Panther suit doing these action scenes. I really wish, for being a Black Panther movie, let's have scenes where T'Challa's in his Black Panther suit doing some of these action scenes. I thought that would have definitely made the film better as well. But overall, I'm going to give Black Panther a 9 out of 10. I think it's a very great movie. I think it's a very cultural film. I like how Marvel kind of did something different for once. I love the visuals of this film. Letitia Wright plays a great younger sister to T'Challa. Michael B. Jordan played a great villain in this film. T'Challa's struggles as the king was very interesting throughout this movie. It definitely added a lot to the story. Ryan Coogler's directing was amazing in this. But like I said, some of the green screen effects are a little weak in this film. That scene where T'Challa and this villainous character are falling down really does feel like something out of Spider-Man 3. The excessive use of these pause realization moments got a little old after a while. And I really would have liked to have seen more scenes where T'Challa's in his Black Panther suit doing some of these action scenes. So overall, 9 out of 10. I really do like Black Panther a lot. I highly recommend it. Very strong start to 2018. And let's hope more films in 2018 turn out as strong, if not stronger, than Black Panther.